everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Very quiet.
How are you? Welcome. We are just gonna give a couple more minutes so that people can get so they don't miss any of the fun stuff. So feel free to go ahead while you're waiting, and in the chat box, go ahead and drop in your contact information, your name, email, website, phone numbers, what kind of referrals you could use and whatnot. Go ahead and do that for now. All right. Gonna give it just a few minutes. Just want to make sure everybody's logged in. All right. Got a couple more trickling in here. All right. So just a few housekeeping things if you are not yet familiar with our Zoom meetings. Most of us should be by now, just given how everything's been going lately, but just feel free to use the chat box anytime to put some questions in there along the way or anything that you think of. It's best to stay on mute so that when we start the presentations that the speaker has the floor and that there's no background noise. Putting it on speaker view is going to be the best thing once the presentation starts so that you have their presentation and them on a bigger screen rather than the grid. Once we get to the networking portion, putting yourself back on the grid view is going to be a good idea, but for now it's always best to stay on speaker view. I'm going to put a link to our upcoming events into the group chat box so that you have those. We do have some things coming up, including our business after hours tomorrow, and then we have our mayor's update next Thursday, which we still do have some room for. Christy will go over some of the council events and things like that coming up, but our mayor's update is actually our last big event of the year. So be sure to register for that if you are able to. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and here in a minute, I'm going to put that link in that chat box for you. We are recording this, so if you want to go back and reference anything afterwards, it's going to be posted to our YouTube channel, most likely by Friday at the latest, and we'll put a little blurb up on our social media so you have the link for that as well. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Christy right now so that she can give you a couple of announcements, and then we will get started with our program tonight.
Hello, all. I haven't been to a SeminoleTech in a second, so quite a treat. Good to see all your faces. Andrea, quit making faces at me. I saw that. So let's see. So we have a lot of things still coming up. A lot of things on the calendar. A lot of initiatives that we are working on here at the chamber. One of those is called Seminole Chamber Crush. We have We used to do it about once a quarter. We've been doing it every single week. Going to a member restaurant for either lunch or happy hour, or last night we even did takeout delivery night at Marco's Pizza in Longwood. So check your calendar for those. You do not have to pre-register. It is an open window of time to come in and get to go or sit down for lunch, whatever your schedule allows for. We will be having a happy hour next Tuesday at Figs Prime, and that is technically Altamont, I believe. It's right on 434 in Montgomery. Watch the calendar for additional dates and locations as well. One of the initiatives that we have been talking about the last couple of weeks is workforce appreciation. And that initiative has gone very well. We had over 20 different members participate in putting freebies into the packages. And now we are working on creating those packages and distributing them to the businesses that have asked for them. So if you are a business that would like to have workforce appreciation packages for your employees, you can, that's Chalupa. Hold one moment.
This is what happens.
You can, you can order workforce.
These are the Zoom outtakes.
You can order, you're not recording yet, right? You can order workforce appreciation packages from directly from me up to 200. They're first come, first serve. And we do have a few left. So if you'd like to do that for your employees, just let me know. Another program we have coming up that was announced on Friday is the Chamber Me Anything. Can you actually hear me over the dog?
Yes.
Okay. And so be sure to check out our Facebook page for some more information and a really fun video that myself, Rebecca, and Ben put together to help explain the program. But basically, once you, for every chamber member that you referred and joins the chamber, you get entered into a monthly drawing for a chance to have a professional interview. Okay, I should say professionally videotaped because it's me interviewing you, so. But a real professional will be videoing it. And so a lot of components that go on with that as well. Another huge announcement in Friday's email, so keep a lookout for that. And I'm gonna go try and take care of this dog and then let Jessica wrap things up and get you guys started.
Okay, thank you. All right, so again, as we go along in the presentations, which I'll pass over to Kate to introduce our speakers for tonight, but if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat box and we'll get back to them. Otherwise, you can ask them in between as well, live. We'll make time for that too, but without further ado, I'm going to introduce Kate, which is our chair of the SeminoleTech committee, and she's going to kick us off and introduce our speakers tonight.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to SeminoleTech. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the great information, Jessica and Christy. We really appreciate it. I just want to say that this has been a great experience, us all doing it virtually. I love just the aspect of being at home and being able to learn and still and get together. It really is, you know, a new way of doing things, but I'm really excited because I think it brings more of us together in this technology world and it shows some of the difficulties we have and some of the things that make life so much easier for us all, not to have to be driving around this late at night. I know as a family mom that it's great for me. So hopefully tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell them to get to SeminoleTech because I think this is a great way for us to really learn about the innovation here. And not only in Central Florida now, since it's being virtual, it's kind of, you know, we can learn about so much more. So welcome to SeminoleTech. I see in the chat room, there's a few first timers. So Wendy, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it and we hope that you come back. So I'm going to move on, and for some reason, it's not letting me share my content tonight. You're gonna give me some access, Rebecca. Okay, let's try that now. Yes, perfect. All right. And can you see, everybody can see that? Hopefully, because I can't see you at this point. So we went through, I first want to just say a special thank you to our wonderful sponsors. Our presenting sponsor is Coulter Solutions, and our other presenting sponsor this evening is Complete Communications. We wouldn't be able to do SeminoleTech without our sponsors, so we greatly appreciate your support. Also, if you would, please like us on Facebook and LinkedIn. Hashtag tonight, if you want to take some pictures of all of us together and put that on social media, that would be great. And that would be hashtag SeminoleTech. And they went through some of the upcoming events, but these are some more of the events. If everybody that's members of the chamber, make sure you know that you can go to all of these council meetings. There's meetings every week, every other day. So, you know, if you can't make morning ones or afternoon ones, they have something for everybody. So make sure you check out the chamber events on their website. Upcoming ribbon cuttings and events, like Christy mentioned, we've got the Seminole Crush at Figs Prime, Chamber Use coming up, and the Mayor's Update. So today's topic, I guess it did not want to show, but we are talking about home technology. And our first speaker is Jason Wade, and Jason is from Orlando Home Tech, and he will be talking about a few things today, but one of the other things is his Doorbell Ninja. So I'm gonna let you take it away, Jason.
Hey, can y'all see me? Oh yeah.
You have to stop sharing your screen real quick.
Oh, okay.
And then we should be able to, and then everybody go to speaker view and put yourself on mute, and we will see Jason. Jason, take yourself off mute.
Unmute.
There you go.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hey, oh, good. Unmute. There we go. Is this it?
Yeah, you're good. Oh, he put himself up.
You're on mute, Jason.
Okay, let's make sure. How am I?
That's good. We can
Good?
hear you now.
Yes.
Yes.
I won't touch anything. Yes. But am I supposed to be in the big, because I see you as big. Maybe it doesn't matter if I'm big or not on the speaker view. Which one is the speaker view? Is it? Unmute. Are we good again? Okay. My name is Jason Wade. My company name is Doorbell Ninja. You can check us out at doorbellninja.com. We also go by a few regional names like Orlando Smart Homes, Tampa Smart Homes, Jacksonville Smart Homes. But the brand I'm building is Doorbell Ninja. And on the face of it, we install smart doorbells by Ring and Nest. The truth is we actually do more cameras than we do doorbells. The doorbell's kind of the gateway to the smart home right now. And so I've been doing it about 2 years. I helped the nation's largest HVAC company launch smart home services in the DC area, and then just came back down here and started my own thing. And yeah, we do tons and tons of smart locks, doorbells, cameras, thermostats, voice assistants. And I'm sure everybody's aware the trend is growing. Some research came out yesterday, 64% of US households plan to invest in smart home tech in the next 12 months. The largest companies in the world are really hedging their bets on the home. It's kind of the new platform war. You've got Apple doing stuff behind the scenes, but of course, Amazon bought Ring, Google bought Nest, and they're really filling that out. It's kind of like the new operating system or whatever platform that they're going to have to kind of lock people in their ecosystem, serve them up ads, I'm sure, but really kind of own this next wave of technology. So that's what I do. Usually I spend all day answering questions about specifics. If we wanted to open it up to questions and answers, that's kind of where I shine. And I don't know, but I probably have as much experience as possible or as anyone installing these devices. I've installed hundreds of doorbells, cameras from Ring and Nest over the last few years. So kind of I know the ins and the outs and the pro tips and the secrets, or I just Google it and act like I know it. But if anybody has questions, we can open it up.
If you do have any questions, just feel free to take yourself off mute. Seems like you kind of like an interactive type presentation.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, go ahead and put yourself off mute, or you can put them in the chat box and I will help with that too, just so everyone's aware.
Hey, Jason, can you hear me? This is Jeff Eberhard.
I can hear you, yeah.
Hey, I'm a first-time attendee here in the chamber,
Sure.
but that's a very interesting business you have there, and I know a lot of neighbors, including myself, that probably can use your help. But do you do in-home mesh networks and things like that too, setting those up?
I do, and I'm glad you said that. That is, I would say, almost 100% of all houses I go into, if they don't already have a mesh network, they need it. And for those of y'all on this call that don't kind of know what a mesh network is, it's something like Eero or Google Wi-Fi. Google Nest Wi-Fi is the new generation, or Orbi. It's instead of just having one router, like most of my customers will have the one router from Spectrum or AT&T, or over in Tampa, I do a lot of stuff over there. They have Frontier, and especially Frontier, because it used to be Verizon Fios, they have insanely fast speeds. And even people here, they'll have very fast speeds, but oftentimes it's not an issue of the speed with this, it's the distribution. So almost everybody really does need a mesh network, unless it's kind of a very open floor plan and you're maybe only trying to connect a doorbell. But for a lot of the cameras outside of the garage, on the corners of the house, we install, and people usually and really need a mesh network system where there's multiple nodes, and it creates a very big network of concentric circles from each node kind of covering. It's sometimes hard to get people to conceptualize it, but yeah, we install them all the time. I have many, I have the old Google Wi-Fi's in my car. I have the new Nest Wi-Fi. That's almost always what I install. But yeah, we install tons of them, and I would say almost everybody needs them. It gives better Wi-Fi coverage to the customers, and it makes my job a lot easier.
That's awesome. Tagging on to that a little bit, do you also do like in-home where you set up other televisions and monitors and stuff like that too?
I do. I don't hang TVs, so usually for that I'll recommend this great company called Mountzilla, but that's just not my forte. And they'll recommend me for doorbells and cameras. but I've definitely helped people cut the cord. I helped a really big developer locally. He just wanted to get rid of Spectrum. That's a lot of my calls start with, I want to get rid of Spectrum. I want to get rid of ADT. So no offense to anybody from either one of those companies, but, and they mean Spectrum Cable, right? So, it's hooking up Apple TV or, Roku, or however they choose to get, if it's a antenna or if it's, live TV from, it's whatever. I'll kind of go over the options and they'll see what they're familiar with. But I do not a lot of that, but I do help people cut the cord.
We have,
Cool, thank you.
we have a comment just saying, tell us a little bit more about the product and service that you offer.
Sure. So when I helped the big company launch, it was all about installation, right? So the thought was people bought the products directly from Nest, and I trained directly with Nest since I was with such a big customer of theirs. They kind of trained us and gave us everything. But the thought was people would already have the product, and then we would install it. So, that's kind of how I based my business. Was we install almost everything, $99 per product. And what I found is I'm actually a mobile retailer, because most people kind of don't know what to buy, or they just want to buy direct. And so I try and keep things as simple and as transparent as possible. We have the same prices as on the manufacturer sites. So sometimes they do sales and it kind of hurts the bottom line, but that's fine. That's my policy. I match the price that they have it on their website, and then we install it for $99. So this is the Nest Doorbell, Nest Hello. Got some Hue lighting and stuff. But yeah, it's a lot of that. And the physical installation is a big part of it. I mean, it's, we're drilling into mortar and kind of doing some things that after you have experience, it's relatively simple to do. But the majority of what I do is really help people, young and old, understand the settings so that you don't get a lot of alerts. So we can dial those back, or we could structure it correctly. I explain to them how to maybe recharge the device if it's a battery device. If people buy the products from me, I extend the warranty, but then also I'll come and replace the batteries, because the Ring batteries are rechargeable. They take about 8 hours to charge, and sometimes they're high up. So to take away that fear of, I got to get up there and change the battery, just call me, I'll swing by. I always keep charged the batteries, I pop them in. So it's, on the face of it, I am a smart home installer, but my car has about everything you can imagine from Ring and Nest. And, because I want it so that if people want the product or want it that day, I have it. And, sometimes I don't, sometimes I have to order it, but for the most part, I can have it and it'll be correct to what people need. Because a lot of times people will order a lot of stuff. And the big thing that happens is people order the Ring floodlight cam, which is a great product, but you need power. And I'm not an electrician. And so they need power from an existing floodlight or an existing light and stuff. So usually in that case, I can serve them well with a spotlight cam, which is very similar to the floodlight cam. But it's really kind of giving that advice. And I give my honest advice, whether it hurts my bottom line or not, of what people need. Kind of the big thing with these cameras, the doorbells are great usually. And in Florida, a lot of times the doorbells are on the side. And so usually you just need the pivot plate, and it comes with the doorbells to pivot it out about 15 or 25 degrees. And then usually you get a really nice view of the carport or of the driveway. Then a lot of people will do a camera above the garage, or usually if you can do a camera kind of to the far of the house and angle it over, it's nice because you get to see the entire front yard or the entire backyard, and you don't get a lot of false alerts from the sidewalk or driveway and stuff.
I actually have a question. Out of the top, competitors that you install, do you have a preference on which one you like the best?
It's for specific use cases. The Ring 3 doorbell that just came out is great. It's a well-made product. It's kind of like it's an evolution, kind of like getting the newest generation of the Honda Accord. They've really refined it. That's great because it has a battery, but it can be connected to your wires if you have power coming out. Some people do, some people don't, from renovation or whatever. So the Ring 3 doorbell is great. And for the difference between Ring and Nest, in my book, why sometimes I recommend Nest, is the Nest cloud backup service is far superior. And they've just streamlined it where it's $12 for unlimited devices, but it's continuous backup for, I think that level at $12 is like 10 days. And then you can save clips, and you can always download clips. And then with Ring is great, but it's only whenever it detects motion or somebody presses the button and it turns on, will it record. So I have both in my house, and it's been useful to have both, but it depends. But I really love the Ring 3 doorbell. I really love the Ring Spotlight Cam. The floodlight cam is awesome if you have floodlights. I mean, it looks great. The bulbs are gonna last like 10 or 13 years. And then the Nest stuff, you know, like the doorbell or the IQ cam. The IQ cam is pretty pricey. It's $400. But to put that in the middle of your garage or on the side of your garage, and we plug it in above the garage door opener, I drill through, it's just amazing.
Jason, can you explain what that is a little deeper?
Sure.
Like, because
Sure.
I have no idea what you're talking about when you say IQ cam.
Yeah, so Nest makes 2 indoor cams and 2 outdoor cams, and they're essentially the same. There's the regular one, and then there's the IQ. And the IQ is a bit larger, but it has something called Super Sight, where if somebody walks into your driveway, it will zoom in on them automatically, and it'll still save the footage of the wider view as well, and it'll follow them. So and then it backs up that continuous amount of video, right? So you can, even if it missed something, like if it missed my neighbor's dog coming into my yard, like I could still go back to the time and I'd still see it. So that's like the top of the line. Usually in comparisons, it'll win. Nest kind of makes it simple because they just don't have that many products. Ring has a ton of products, but that's what the IQ is.
Thank you. Also,
Yeah.
you know, you see commercials and things like that of people actually getting to talk to somebody coming onto their porch. Explain how that is actually done, or how you can get that.
Sure. So almost all the smart devices have that, the two-way talk. They have, you know, they're recording video, but they're also recording audio. You opt in, you know, for privacy reasons, and then you could talk to people as well. That's kind of the sound quality on the Ring 3 is pretty good. And on the newer stuff or the more expensive stuff, usually it has a better speaker. And that's really aimed to scare people away. Like the doorbell is, you know, you can communicate a little bit. It's not the best quality. And the quality really hinges, back to the mesh network stuff, on the quality of your Wi-Fi. So, you know, what I tell people is, they'll say, well, I pay for a gig, or I pay for 300 or whatever. And that's like the water coming into their house to one faucet, but it, you know, has a hard time getting. So if you have a good distribution network with a mesh network, like I do, I actually have slow Wi-Fi. I have like 50 devices connected and 0 problems. And so there are a few things, like whenever I'll see Ring will post something and somebody will say, the audio is horrible with the two-way talk. And it's that they have horrible Wi-Fi or you know, internet service, or just a Wi-Fi distribution. But yeah, usually when people have good Wi-Fi, it's decent. It's not perfect, but you see the Ring videos and you see, you know, you can hear it, or you can see people talking in sweet moments. And it is nice. It's nice for the sweet moments. It's nice for the funny moments. It's nice when 2 lizards are mating on top of your doorbell or your camera or anything like that, or your raccoon's pooping in your pool, whatever. It's cool. I try not to sell on fear, you know. It's nice to be aware of your home. It's nice to know who's at your front door, you know, see if they're coughing or not. It's
well,
nice.
Around here, we're probably just going to catch a bunch of bears getting into our trash.
Yeah. So, and you post it. And you might even know, like, I had a friend do that. He did a floodlight so he could look and see if the bear is out there before he takes out his trash.
Yeah.
I like to say I like help people live safer and smarter. And, you know, it can help you live safer. And it can act as a big deterrent before you would even be a target towards somebody. Or hopefully if somebody came on your property and attempted something, they would be scared away if you talked to them. Or if they open the door. I do a lot of Ring alarm systems, and they're really great. I love them. And that could scare somebody away. The Ring sells it as rings of security. But if you could deter them with a camera outside and they just go somewhere else, that's, good.
So I'm going to put my security hat on because I work for a cybersecurity company.
Yeah.
This worries me because obviously all this data is going somewhere. So can you talk a little bit about the safety of your privacy and things like that behind this?
So I have noticed almost every time I install a Ring device, the app is different. They're updating so much stuff and adding so many privacy features. And they've even done it for you to protect other people's privacy. Whenever you set up the motion settings, you can set a privacy zone where it won't record.
Okay.
And Ring says they've never been hacked. I think a lot of times it's people use their own phone number. Yeah. So the indoor camera thing to me it's not, I don't really care for it. So I think if you have indoor cameras, you really need to be concerned. And so Ring has it where you have modes. You have disarmed, where your doorbell and your outdoor cameras are still on, and then home, where it turns the indoor, and you could set the parameters of what each thing means. The indoor cameras are off, and then away, the indoor cameras are on. So I don't feel that worried about outside cameras because there's no expectation of privacy necessarily, like at your front door. But with inside cameras, but then I think of it, everybody's walking around 24/7 with a listening, tracking, filming device called a phone. So yeah, I have people ask me, and I don't want to say it's above my pay grade, but I think, and that's the thing. And Nest, I'm sure I don't notice the obvious stuff. I do notice that they've started making everybody opt in if you want to record audio, but I mean, these are huge companies with a lot to lose. And, you could argue huge companies with a lot to gain from infringing on your rights, but that's Google, right? Anyways, or any of these companies. So I think my honest opinion, I love Ring. I know the people there. I love Nest. I know the people there. Apple, I think the next few years will be telling. I don't see anybody else except for Apple stepping in on a major scale. And I think Apple, people love them or hate them. And, they're not selling your data like Google is or Facebook. And they're not hyper targeting you like Amazon is. Amazon bought Ring and everybody else, right? They're all snapping. And Apple's buying tons of companies. I think Apple has a huge place. And, they've integrated HomeKit really well into iPhones. If you swipe up, you'll see a little home, and I have a few devices. You'll see them pop up. I think they have a huge chance to just kill it. Make it easier.
What are some of the things that you think are going to be different that they can bring to the table that the other ones can't?
I think easier setup. I think if there's still some installation stuff, they'll still need people like me, but and some devices are starting to be this way where it just recognizes it. So if it knows that you bought it from the Apple store on your account, and Amazon's kind of like this, if you buy an Echo speaker, it comes kind of pre-configured. You literally plug it in. I don't even think you have to enter in your Wi-Fi stuff. It's like, would you like to register this? Yes, boom, and it works. So that's today I did a Schlage encode lock and a Ring doorbell. Great products. The encode was basically made to work with the integration with Ring and Amazon Alexa. It's like 5 different logins to get the thing to work. When it works, it's amazing. Somebody rings the doorbell, you can unlock the door from the image, but it's ridiculous, like the complexity of it. And it is because of security, right? So that these things it knows it's you. But I think Apple, it's kind of like when you get AirPods or you get a HomePod. Like I just buy all this stuff. My wife's like, stop buying it. But but it is interesting. And, Apple, it's just beautiful. You buy it and it's like, would you like to register these? Or click here and boom, it's done. And so, and I think they'll get some wireless charging or some other charging or battery technology down so that could be solved, because power is an issue, like especially with doorbells. Some people don't have power coming out to the doorbell, or some people hate replacing the batteries. So it would be really interesting to see if they can get the wireless charging, if it's privacy. And maybe, and one of the most important things is a lot of people would want just stuff to be local so that the data isn't going back and forth, right? And a lot of things like,
Yeah.
that's why they'll do hubs with Z-Wave or Zigbee and stuff, is you can have it local, like Philips Hue, you can have it. So I think maybe Apple could do that, or they could almost make you opt in. If you could back up the video to your local server, whether that be a HomePod or a Mac Mini or your Apple TV. I think they're well positioned because, they did away with all their networking stuff a few years ago, but really even like the mesh network stuff today, that needs to be built into the devices. So then every device you kind of get is another hub expanding the network. And so I think they're well positioned with the Apple TV, with the extreme popularity of the Apple Watch, of course, of iPhones in America, middle, upper class, like globally they're not. But like I went to the Hong Kong trade or electronics show last year before all this insanity. It was insane then. They were having riots then. Nothing like now. But and then I went to CES before probably there might not be a CES anymore, like a physical one. And you see a lot of weird stuff going on in the rest of the world. So I mean, in each country they might have it. So it might be Tuya in China, or it might be Xiaomi or whatever countries we boycott here or whatever. But in the US, I think at the end of the day, it'll be the three, and I'm really excited to see what Apple does.
Very cool. All right. Any other questions? Do we have any other questions coming in the chat? Give you a few. Give you a little second. I just want you to explain the sign behind you.
Oh yeah. So I'm the Doorbell Ninja, and I fight the evil porch pirates. So,
do you have a t-shirt like that? I'm thinking you need a t-shirt.
I have a t-shirt, and I have like shirts in all different colors that say "Ask me about doorbells," "Ask me about smart homes." And I had, my daughter's 8, and I had some made for her, and so she literally wears them to school, which warms my heart. But then I'm like, did anybody ask you?
Put your website down below.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And it's fun. What I like about the smart doorbells or all this stuff is it's kind of like one of those wow moments. It's like, the first time you got your iPhone, or the first Uber ride you took, or the first Airbnb you stayed at. That's kind of the doorbell. Like if it's an older person who has difficulty getting up, they can look outside, kind of see some interesting stuff. They can feel safer. It's one of those wow, really impactful things.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, a very low price.
Yeah, well, just like you were just mentioning, I didn't even think, when Apple comes out with it, being on your watch, I mean, that's amazing just to be able to see it right there. And you just also mentioned I think about, my dad, and he lives by himself. He's older and, he's had a stroke. So it'd be nice for him not to just have to open the door. Even me working at home sometimes when I'm by myself, I mean, I have my terrorizing dogs over here, of course, but just, you always want to look out the window first or something to just be able to have that reassurance of being able to see right at the front door. That's actually really nice. So
It is. Yeah, it is.
Just a little
you can
security.
Have it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, if we don't have any more questions, thank you so much, Jason, for joining us this evening. Great information, great technology. It's amazing to see what just knocking on the door. When I was a little girl, we probably had doorbells, but mostly you just ran up to the door and knocked on it. So where we are now, and people knowing that I'm even coming up to the doors. So it's amazing innovation. So thank you so much. Make sure that you put your information into the chat box for anybody that might be thinking about getting some Doorbell Ninjas.
I will. Thank you so much.
Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So the next speaker that we have now, we are going to turn it over to Tony Smith with Mobot Orlando. And this one I'm really excited about because everybody loves their Roomba inside the house. And now we're going to kind of learn about what your Roomba can do outside your house on your lawn, but not the Roomba. So go ahead and take it over, Tony. Thank you so much.
Very good. Can you guys hear me okay?
hear you and can see your presentation perfectly already.
Awesome. Well, I'm
And I
already
wish my
interested.
yard looked like that right now.
Well, I'm interested to connect with Jason to see how smart home stuff that he's got might interact with this here robotic mower. But
Absolutely.
good evening. So my name is Tony Smith, and I am with Mobot of Orlando. Tonight, I'd like to share with you some of the technical aspects of maintaining your lawn with a Husqvarna auto mower. Mobot of Orlando, we are a franchise. We're the 10th franchise in the Mobot system, and Mobot is setting themselves up to really disrupt the lawn care industry, which really has not changed a lot in the last 30 years. When we talk autonomous, we are using smart algorithms in the mowers. We're not talking, for those who remember the movie Space Odyssey, we're not talking about the General AI HAL 9000. So if you've ever watched that movie, that's not the type of autonomous we're talking about. And when we talk robotic mowing, this is not what we are talking about with respect to mowing your lawn. What we are talking about is using robotic mowers, and this is one of the models. These are what these things look like. They're very small. They're a bit larger than a Roomba, and people commonly think about them as a Roomba for your lawn. So as you, hopefully that you saw that video and it came through for you. I want to give you an overview of really the 4 technical considerations when we look at these mowers and our business. I have time at the end for questions, but please feel free to stop me along the way and let me know if you've got a question of anything that I might be going over. Okay, so really the heart of it starts at the charging system. So these mowers actually stay on the person's property, whether it's residential, commercial, or municipal. Okay, when the mowers are not mowing, they are parked in a charging station. Okay, charging for any of the mowers typically takes 60 minutes, and the various mowers can mow from anywhere between 60 to 270 minutes. And I'll get into explaining a little bit later, but the mowers, they actually return to the charging station on their own when they need recharging. Really, for the homeowner, all they have to do is pick up sticks. The charging station, this is just an example of one, okay? And again, it's more than a place to just park the mower. When you get into the technical aspects of the charging station, that charging station is doing a lot of things. Okay, it's got charging nodules. That actually is what powers the mower. Okay, it actually drives in and it docks in there and it receives its charging automatically. All of the mowers have boundary wires and guide wires, and the hookups for them are on the back side. Kind of as Jason spoke to, you know, the reason why there's people like myself is there's a bit of complexity to setting up this type of technology in your home. It's not like just buying a mower at Home Depot and bringing it home, putting some gas in it and starting it up. These things take a little bit more. And then there is a main board on the charging station, and that helps with the efficiency of charging and the wire loop control. Other components to the charging station are we insert wire in the ground. I'll speak a little bit about that. There is a power pack, and there is a low frequency, I don't know if that shows up my mouse on there, a low frequency power wire that actually charges the powering station. When we install these systems, we actually install a boundary wire. The boundary wire on this typical property is in yellow. So that is what defines where the mower will mow on your property. We go around the whole perimeter of your property so it doesn't go out onto your neighbor's yard. And we go around any flower beds, the house, driveways, outbuildings, etc. And then we also use GPS technology to understand the layout of the property. You see that red line there? That is what's called a guide wire. And that guide wire is actually a proprietary piece of technology for Husqvarna. There's no other robotic mowing companies that have guide wires. And the guide wire allows the mower to efficiently get back to the charging station and assist with going out and mowing your yard in an even pattern. Okay, so installation at the home can take anywhere between 3 to 7 hours, okay, depending upon the size of the lawn and the complexity. Again, we place a charging station, and really after that, I just get busy with installing the wire. So that, you see that particular machine right there, that is a wire machine that actually installs the wire into the ground 3 to 4 inches. Okay, that's enough of me doing that thing. So the wires, after we install, it's really hard to even tell that we've actually put wires into the ground. In the center picture here, you actually can see a little bit there. Really what that is where the wiring machine pulled up some of the matted grass as it went through. What we do is we go through and we actually rake that up afterwards, so you can barely even see that a wire has been installed. But the real technology happens in the mowers themselves. There's numerous models that are available. This is 4 of the most popular models that we have. And the models are dependent upon the size of the lawn and the complexity in the system. And it's kind of blurry on this screen, but really I just wanted to show you here that there is a menu system on all of these mowers. And that's what we use to program the mowers. This is just one of the menu trees of up to, I believe there's 7 or 8 different menu trees that we use to set up the mower, to handle things like the schedule, the cutting height, installation, handling for weather, security. Within the mower itself, okay, this is where it has a lot of the high-tech technology to really deal with those boundary wires. In order for the mower to make sure that it stays on your property, it uses loop sensors. So within the mower, it actually receives signals from that wire, and it actually helps the mower literally understand where it's at. And then it'll take different actions based upon where it sees it's at in reference to the wires. The cutting blades on the other side, and the next slide I'll be able to show you a better view of this. It's literally just 3 razor blades, and those razor blades are spinning around at about 2200 RPM, and they are intended to just cut grass. If those cutting blades run into any obstacles in the yard, kid's toy, branch, etc., it will basically fall backwards. So it doesn't have a fixed blade that will actually get damaged. And that's intended to protect the blade, and it gives the grass a really nice fine cut. The mower, the underside, so you see this disc blade on the underside, that's actually only about 9 inches around. But because the mower is out mowing on the lawn for hours upon hours during a day, that's what allows it to maintain a lawn in a carpet-like appearance. They're very light, so they don't smash down your lawn, and they're very small. Some of the other technology, you've got a lot of motors in these things, and they're direct drive motors on the blade, which is really helpful because that cuts down on the amount of parts. There's actually a motor to raise and lower the height of the blade. We can do that remotely from an app. So if something we want to change the height, we can do that electronically. And then the wheel motors. And the wheel motors are intended to really allow the mower to be driven by these things, forward, reversing, the whole steering mechanism, getting in and out of tight spots, and they're extremely durable. Each of the mowers has safety sensors. Okay, and these safety sensors operate off of magnetic technology, and when the magnet is, lifted away from its contact point, that sends a signal to the motherboard, and we can tell whether the mower is being lifted, whether it got tilted, okay, whether it is at an angle on the yard that's over the recommendation, if it bumps into something. And then based upon those sensors, the mower takes certain actions. Yeah. And those sensors are really important when it comes to dealing with pets that are on the lawn, right? When you have children that are, playing in the yard, you don't want it to hurt them. Obviously, if it just bumps into them, it's going to go somewhere else. And even with big children, okay, it's not going to get in their way of activities in the yard. Other technology that's on the mowers is what we call GPS assisted. So it actually will learn your lawn in 1 meter squares. You see the image down below? So that's just representations of maps. The one on the left is when we haven't used GPS assisted technology. The one on the right shows a very thorough coverage of a lawn, which means your entire lawn looks very level and always cut and maintained. There's a lot of different grasses that this mower works with. This is just examples of grasses that we deal with in the South. And depending upon the type of grass that you have, determines the type of mower, whether we're going to have a low cut or a high cut mower. And that's one of the things that I determine when I come out and I do an assessment of your property. And people ask, well, can it operate in the rain? That's a pretty torrential downstorm or rainstorm. And then what's it deal with after the rain? It can actually go through some puddles of certain depth and continue to function properly. At night, it operates at night and it's got lights on it. The lights are really not there for the mower to see where it's going. It's really if anybody's out and about walking, that they don't trip over it. And they can maneuver through tight spaces. When we have gates on a property, we have different ways to do installations whereby the mower can actually go through the gate. They even can maneuver into houses. These are some examples of a lot of houses that have been built by people who own these over in Europe. But the mower will actually literally go into these houses and park itself and then come out when it's time to mow again. For the homeowner, there's an app. It's called Automotive Connect. And there's a lot of different features on the Automotive Connect app that the residents can see and interact with. There's even different settings that they might be able to change. We typically, since we're a franchise, we typically handle most of this for the homeowner. And the homeowner just has the app on their phone so that they can see what the status is of the mower. We can set the cutting height from remote. We can set up a weather timer so that if the lawn isn't growing a lot because there hasn't been a lot of rain, it actually won't mow as much. And we can change the schedule, which is really important because different times of the year, you need to have a different schedule for the lawn. It'll also give us a map view, and this is really helpful on large properties, of where the mower has been most recently. So if you get an alarm, the mower's stuck and you got a big property, it's a lot easier to look at the map first to understand where you got to go to find the mower. For us as the dealer on this side, we actually have a different app that we use to actually see where all of our mowers are. I don't have a lot of mowers in place yet because we're fairly new, but eventually when we've got hundreds of mowers, we'll be able to see where all of those are in Orlando. And then we'll actually have the ability to send them back to their charging stations, should bad weather be coming, or if we want to, change any settings from a schedule standpoint on a mass number of mowers. And there's also a dashboard. So once we've got, many more mowers out and about, it'll give us a dashboard to be able to see what's the efficiencies and make improvements for the homeowners. As far as the future, Husqvarna in 2021, they're going to be coming out with what's called EPOS, Exact Positioning Operating System. This will allow certain installations to occur that don't even require wires, which is going to be really nice for large open properties, especially those that may have events on them, and you need to change where the mower is mowing. You don't have to go out there and relay wire. You actually just use a GPS assisted system to relay out virtual boundary lines. That's really exciting technology. Down in Lake Nona, there actually is a test already going on with this at the city center. Another feature that's coming out next year is solar powering. A lot of your commercial properties and municipal properties don't have power. Jason mentioned, no power oftentimes actually at the doorbell. We run into similar problems where there's no power at an area that needs to be mowed, and they're coming out with solar system that we can actually just plug the mower right into a remote solar system. And then probably by 2025, Husqvarna is going to have a Concept Zero platform that's targeted at city centers. This will be a charging station that can actually take 3 mowers and charge them at a time, which will be very handy. And then they're even looking now at how do you incorporate, the robotic mowing with drone technology. There's actually a video out there that shows a drone carrying in, about 8 of these little mowers, and they actually, go out and, mow the area that's been designated. Jessica, how are we doing on time?
You're perfect, Tony. Yes, perfect.
How much time is left?
Awesome information.
How much time was there left? There was a couple more slides, but I want to be mindful.
You're great on time. Keep going.
Okay. So, I wanted to just go over a couple of other things that we often share with folks. What are some of the key features? They are quiet. It's 60 decibels for a mower versus a typical zero turn is about 95. There's zero emissions because we're using lithium-ion batteries. And as I've mentioned several times, the lawn is always cut. And that is one of the great features versus waiting, to when you want to mow your lawn on the weekend, or, you have the lawn care folks doing it. There is no cross-contamination that you get if you're using a lawn care service, because this mower stays at your house. They do work in the rain. They work on uneven lawns. I'm going to show you some pictures in just a second of some before and after, and you'll see how remarkable lawns will look after they've been mowed. And one of the nice things is because it's always mowing the lawn with those razor blades, it's only cutting about 3 centimeters of grass at a time, and that grass falls back into the lawn as fertilizer, ultimately resulting in thicker lawns that require less fertilizer and less irrigation. So this is an interesting slide, and I have to give credit where it's due to Erin Brennan. I think she's on the phone. But when she came across, some of these facts, 1 hour, of a traditional mower, gas mower, is the equivalent pollution of 40 new cars. 30 minutes of a gas-powered blower is the equivalent of driving a Ford Raptor 3,900 miles. And every year there's 1.6 billion gallons of gas consumed. Has anybody ever spilled gas in their vehicle when they went to get gas for their lawnmower? If you haven't, I can tell you it's not a pleasant experience because we as homeowners, we spill about 17 million gallons a year doing that. And the whole point of robotic mowing, one of the biggest is don't we all deserve to have a nice, quiet neighborhood? We've all seen these individuals descend upon a neighborhood, and for hours on end, it's just noisy as all get out. Their vehicles are in the roads, making it kind of dangerous and disruptive every single week. And the problem is in neighborhoods, They're in one section one day, another section the other day. So it seems like they're there all week long. And if it rains, they don't make it, out that day. They got to come the next day. And oftentimes when they do that, they tear up the yard. Okay. And if you've ever had this happen to your yard, it's not a pleasant experience. You will not get that with robotic mowers. With the robotic mowers, this is a before and after picture. So you see on the left, that's kind of the lawn, right before it had to be mowed with a traditional mower. On the right is probably, I don't know the exact number of weeks, but I can tell you from experience, within 3 weeks, that lawn, if not less, will be looking that level every single day. Okay, pretty stark difference. Personal experience, my lawn on the left after 2 months with robotic mowers versus my neighbor's. He hates it when I use this slide, so don't tell him that I did this. You see the health of the lawn on the left, okay? It's just much clearer, clearly that lawn is getting healthier over time. And this is a dramatic picture. This is lawn on the right, same lawn as the lawn on the left after a season with robotic mowers. Which lawn would you like to have, right? Very clear. And I always say, you know what, if these things can be doing castles in England, I'd like it to be doing my castle. It's not really a castle where I live, but I like to treat it that way based upon the mortgage payments that I shell out every month. But these things can handle very nice lawns and keep them consistently looking good at all times. And that is really robotic mowing. So any questions?
So Tony, I have a question. So you showed just the dramatic difference of we won't tell your neighbor, but the difference between your neighbor and your yard, is that just from the level of what it's cutting at, or is that the weight of the lawnmower that's going over it? What causes that? Yeah,
well, really what causes a difference here is, consistently being mowed at the same height. So when you have, now this area, both my neighbors and mine, you can kind of see some wet areas here, right? So he's not mowing as frequently as I am, partially because of his schedule, okay? Partially because he doesn't want to have a lawn care provider because we're on some pretty sizable property, so it'd be really expensive for him to do that. So when he's mowing, he's probably cutting 3 to 4 inches of grass at a time. And that's just not healthy for the grass. Okay, so that's why you see it's kind of a lot yellow and browner.
So it's like he's getting down to almost the dead part and leveling it off.
Yes, yeah. Whereas if you're cutting it consistently at the same height, it'll maintain a greener color.
Well, that's amazing. Okay, I think you got some questions here in the chat. It says, hi, Tony. Does it have sensors for pets or wild animals like rabbits and squirrels?
Yeah, so the sensors that are on the machines are if it bumps into an object. So if it bumps into a kid, it bumps into a pet. Now, some of our higher end models.
All right, if it bumps into a kid, is it losing a toe?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. It actually bumps in and actually moves in a different direction. And the beauty of the blades is if somebody ever did kind of get their, I don't even know how they would do it because the blade's set back so far. If they, reach their hand in underneath there, the blade is actually just going to fall backwards. They might get a paper cut. They might get a paper cut. But the mower sits so low that they would really have to work hard to do it. And if you pull the mower up and lift it up, the blades stop instantly. They literally stop and fall away.
Wonderful.
And then some of the higher end models actually have ultrasonic sensors on the front of them, and it sends out an ultrasonic pulse about 10 feet in front of the mower. So if there is a pet, a rabbit, a deer, it'll actually sense that and it'll slow down. So that way, if that particular animal doesn't move, when it'll literally just tap it and stop and turn around and go a different direction.
Well, hopefully the squirrel is fast enough to run away.
Yes, I haven't caught any squirrels riding these yet, but
yet, that's the key word. So I have another question. It says, what kind of maintenance is needed? Oil, grease, replacing or sharpening blades. Can you kind of explain a little bit about that?
absolutely. So the great news is we actually do this as a service, and that's what we do is we come out on a periodic basis, typically about every 3 months, to change the blades, do general maintenance on the machine, do any upgrading to the software that's actually on the unit, clean it up. There is no oil on it. It is literally all servo motors being powered by the lithium-ion battery.
Wonderful. And I know you know the big question, what's the cost of it?
Yeah, so the cost of it, it's almost like we work together on this. So this is just kind of a general, I think I have it in here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the pricing is really based upon which model of mower that we put onto your lawn. And there's two components to the pricing. One is the monthly service cost. Okay, so depending upon the size of the mower, and again, these are, the one down here on the right can handle 1.25 acres of property. Okay, the one in the middle, the 430, handles most properties in Florida. And, so you're 120, it's very comparable to what a lawn service is going to be charging. In some instances, actually cheaper than what they're charging. And then there's an installation price. Now for any chamber members, I mean, I'm not selling you guys on it, but just so you know that chamber members actually get free installations. But the installs can run up to five. This is an outdated installation sheet, but they can run up to $500.
So my question is it goes by the acreage. It doesn't go. I mean, I know that differences in grass are a pretty, it's substantial difference if the type of grass you have. So it just goes by the acreage. It doesn't go by the type of grass you have.
No, it really goes just by, just by the acreage, and actually it really goes by which type of mower do we need to use on your property in order for it to maintain it correctly. There are some instances where somebody might have a smaller lawn, but it's very complicated. And rather than using the small model, which is the 315X, it may make more sense for us to use a 430. So
it depends on how many turns and things like that, kind of, because I see that all-terrain one. It looks like it might be maneuver around if you have a lot of things on your property. Am I kind of looking at that correctly?
Well, close. The 430 really is what you'd use on a property that has like a lot of trees, and that's where we would use a machine like this on a smaller property, because bumping into all those trees, going around a bunch of flower beds, it just impacts the efficiency of the mower. Thus, we need to use a larger size mower. The all-wheel drive one that you see here, and it articulates in the middle, this one is really intended for sloped properties. So, and I should have put a slide in here, but if you can think a 70% slope, if you can see my mouse running.
So like even the picture behind you that you showed us, is that a pretty big slope?
Yes, so that
Okay.
picture behind us, even though that's a big slope, they actually are I believe they're using a 430 on that, because the 430 will handle it. The way that I described like this one is, think like along the roadways, right? You think of an off-ramp. You start to get up into some of those slopes. Now, some of those slopes are 100% grade, which is beyond the capability of these machines. But a lot of those slopes are what these machines are able to handle.
I see. Interesting. Wonderful. Any other questions?
I have one little question. You may have gone over this when I was signed off for a second. But obviously, if you are continuously mowing, you know, better than most people do with this type of equipment, is that why there's no need for, like, you know, how most of the mowers have like the bags that the grass goes in when you're mowing? I mean, did I miss that, or am I just being ridiculous right now?
No, the mower actually cuts about 3 centimeters of grass at a time. So that's why we don't need a bag. It just
Okay.
drops those back into the lawn as
Okay.
fertilizer.
That's pretty much what I figured. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. No, it's a great question, because when we do the farmers market, I can tell you that probably 25% of the people ask me, well, where does it collect the clippings? And, you know, then we explain it to them that it doesn't collect the clippings, which is nice, because your lawn doesn't have all of that grass sitting on top of it, which is, one, makes it healthier. Two,
Yeah.
it's an eyesore when that happens.
Because I know that when we do it, like, we do it once a week, and by the end of the week in the summer, it is so tall. So I didn't know how this did with that, and if I, like, again, I might have missed that whole section.
Yeah, because it's mowing at all times, your grass never gets long.
Perfect. I love
So it
it.
never gets a chance. So in the summer, you know, we'll run the mowers more frequently during the day, and then as we're getting into the winter season here in about a month, I'll actually be going through all of the clients and reducing the amount of mowing time.
Well, I think this is a really great question. Chet Neal asked, and he said, why would you want a low cut versus a high cut?
Yeah, so some grasses are actually designed to be cut lower. You know, typically your St. Augustines and your zoysias are your more higher cut grasses, and most of the other grasses, you know, are what we call lower cut. And with our lower cut models, they'll actually cut up to 2.4 inches high, which covers most grasses except for St. Augustine and zoysias. And with those, we need to go up to 3.6 inches high. That's where we use a higher cut mower.
Okay, that's a man that knows his grass. Then this is not coming from me. This is really coming from Dan Lopez. Says, have any of these actually been hacked?
Have they been hacked or stolen?
Well, hacked is the question. Stolen, I'm sure, probably, but are they able to be hacked into? And like your neighbor ends up being a hacker, and he's a little jealous, and he wants his yard to be mowed too. Is that possible?
Great question. I have not heard of anybody hacking these. When my son is home this weekend, he's actually going to UCF for cybersecurity. I'll ask him if he can.
That's a boy.
I'll ask him if he can figure out a way to hack this thing.
Yes, that's a great chore for him. Good.
Yeah,
yes.
I'll give him a project. But so I have not heard of anybody doing that, Dan. It's a great question. I will carry that back to our franchisor. More likely, what would happen is somebody would try to steal it. We have an alarm on it that will set out an excruciatingly loud alarm, and if that doesn't deter them, then and they steal it, then we have GPS technology that will send. We'll see where they took it, and we'll send the cops to go retrieve it for us.
That's good to know. Wonderful. Any other questions?
Yeah, how does it handle fluctuating lake lines?
So great question. What we do when we come out and do the assessment, we talk to the owner about the lake line and how far up it goes. As an example, I was literally this morning over at the Heathrow Racket Club, because we're looking at installing various mowers on theirs, and they have a lake. And you know, the general manager explained to me that usually the lake can come up about 3 feet, and that's good for me to know, because I make sure I install the boundary wire beyond that mark, so that we don't ever go in the lake with them. They can drive through a puddle, but they do not swim well.
Any other
Did that
questions for anyone?
How does it do with like the sidewalks and the edge of your flower beds? Does it alleviate the need for weeding as well, or do you still have to go behind it and weed an edge?
Yeah, so we can pretty much eliminate the need for weed whipping around those areas, because we can actually drive past the boundary wire a certain distance, which allows us to actually cut right up to the curb edge, cut right up to the edge where the flower bed is. But if a person is actually edging along those areas, it does not edge. And so we work with the homeowner to figure out how that's going to happen. Oftentimes they either do it themselves, we do it with a third party, or ourselves.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Any other questions? Don't see any. Tony, thank you so much. So interesting. And, you know, we talked a little bit about it earlier, what we're going to have our sons and daughters doing and not mowing the yard anymore. So we're going to have to figure something else out when we get a Mobot. Because that's who does my yard.
Well, and Kate, you know, I would throw this out. If you guys don't remember anything else from this presentation, if you can, I would take a screenshot of this page. We do give referral cash to Home Depot, my favorite store. And we would love people to follow us on social media.
So make sure you're mindful of that in your marketing advertising.
Perfect. Yeah. And Tony, did you have an OCR code that you wanted to put up if anybody wanted to take a picture of that?
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea.
And then if there's anybody on here, I'm not sure if we have anybody on here, but who has, you know, used your services or gotten a demo from you or anything like that, we would love to hear any kind of testimonial or anything like that. So I don't know if anyone is, because I know you've been very involved in the chamber lately, and I just don't know if anybody may have experienced this as of yet, but I'm sure if not, that it will be coming here soon. So if anybody has, please speak up and let us know.
They tend to fit together. They all operate together. They have
All right.
great design. They're
So
highly.
I guess I'll give control back to you.
A lot of reasons why you would.
Sure, we're gonna wrap some stuff up here.
But by and large, it is a leader in its industry. Operational excellence is another piece. Have you ever been to an operation where it just seems consistently?
All right.
No matter how many times you go there, no matter what time of the day, no matter what you
Just gotta stop sharing your screen.
Oh, there it is. Sorry, I had to find it on the screen.
No problem.
I have like 3 screens going and an iPad, so.
No
There you
problem.
So that's it's my pleasure, and they get you in and out of the drive-through or the lobby in no time flat.
All right. So I just want to thank our speakers for sharing with us this evening. There's a lot of great information. We had a lot of great discussions and, you know, questions, which is what we're all about here. We're hoping, you know, we can get back to our in-person events come the new year, but we're probably going to stick with the virtual for the rest of the year. But thank you again so much for taking your time out to share with us and to join us tonight. You know, keep your eyes out, obviously, for our upcoming events. But I'm going to pass it back over to Kate so she can close us out.
Wonderful. I'm just going to share my screen real quick again. And let's see. Wonderful. Well, I just wanted to thank my committee. And we wanted to actually welcome our new co-chair for our SeminoleTech committee, who is actually Tony Smith, who just finished doing his presentation. So welcome, Tony. Thank you so much for being a part of SeminoleTech and joining us. If anybody on here has a really big interest in technology or their business, we always welcome new members into our committee. So please, if that's something that you might be interested in doing, reach out to me and I would love to discuss that with you. But also thank you so much to my other committee members who are such a big part of putting everything together, getting our sponsors, getting our speakers. Andrea Mahoney from Certified Computer Solutions, thank you to you. Rob Gross, Complete Communications, which is also one of our sponsors. Thank you so much for all you do. Rahil Noor from TaxLeaf, Garrett Coaster from G1K, and Brian Nagel from Real Time Services. Thank you for all of you guys and for what you do. We appreciate you tremendously. Just to let you know, our next meeting will be next November 4th, next month, and we're going to see what's new in space. So we have a couple of people out in the space world and Kennedy Space Center that will be joining us, so that will be a very interesting time to come back. Again, thank you so much. We have the best sponsors, Coulter Solutions and Complete Communications. We can't do this without you. There is some sponsorships available. So if you are interested, your company is interested in sponsoring us, please reach out to me and we can give you the details on that further. Thank you so much. It was a great evening. We appreciate so much our speakers this evening for some great information, and we hope to see you next month. Have a great evening. Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.